confused and grotesque. Let's talk with America's Constitution coach, Rick Green. Rick, welcome back. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, like we're hearing that it probably will be, will America face violence nationwide?
I think that's highly likely, Tim. Look, these are people that have no problem with the ultimate violence, taking the life of innocent children. So I would fully expect, as they've already shown with some of the other things they've done over the last few months, that will all be ramped up, and people need to be prepared for that, but not let that intimidate us or intimidate the judges or intimidate folks who have been standing up for life. I don't think they have a chance at intimidating us at this point. We're on the verge of a great, great victory for our nation to once again start embracing a culture of life.
All right, speaking of great victories in the midterms coming up, Van Jones says Democrats are overpromising to voters and demanding they use woke language like Latinx. That doing that means they're driving blue-collar voters away. What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, you know, Tim, I'm always surprised when someone that's as liberal as Van Jones. I mean, he's a smart guy, but he's an admitted liberal. I mean, almost a leftist. He's been an outspoken advocate for the Democrats, moving that Overton window way to the left over the last couple of decades. He's been a big part of that. For him to now say, whoa, 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 we've gone too far. We're going to start losing elections in big, big ways. That's another sign. You know, listen, the Democrats have left the people that were at least somewhat moderate in their party. And even those people, even people like Elon Musk, as we've seen recently, saying that they're done with the Democrats.
Well, as you know, the January 6th committee went prime time recently. But listen to what a former Democrat senator said about the televised show.
Most Americans are not paying close attention, only 9% paying close attention. So is it breaking through?
I think people don't see it as anything new. There's Jonathan's book. There was an impeachment hearing. You know, okay, we've been there. We've done this.
Rick, why does the committee, do you think, keep pushing those hearings while no one cares about it?
Well, they know the old maxim is true. If you tell a lie loud enough and long enough, it becomes true for a lot of people. And so they know that this lie that they've been telling for a year and a half now, they have to keep telling it loud and they have to keep telling it long if they're going to win over enough of the American people to convince them of this. I don't think it's going to work. I think, fortunately, we have people like Victory News to tell the truth and combat these lies, but I think that's where they're coming from. They know in order to convince people of these lies, they've got to keep repeating them over and over and over again.
All right, Miss Transitory herself, Janet Yellen, now she's taking, she's talking about removing tariffs on China established by the Trump administration. When President Biden was asked about that idea, here's what he had to say.
We're in the process of doing that.
You're lifting the tariffs?
We're in the process of making up my mind.
Who is we making up his mind, Rick?
Well, we're in the process of making up my mind. Now, I could say that talking about my wife, right? We're often in the process, my wife and I, of making up my mind. She's usually making up my mind for me. Anyway, listen, this whole tariff thing, constitutionally, this is supposed to be under Congress, according to Article 1, Section 8. But all the way back in with FDR, they started allowing the president to have some of that authority. Congress ceded a lot of that in 1962 when Kennedy was president. And so it gives some leeway for the president to do some of these things. I know that's not what you were actually asking. It's just telling that when he says we for me. But in terms of constitutional education, we need to know this should be Congress making this decision anyway. Too often they hand this stuff over to the executive branch.
Well, to his credit, he just was now getting back on his bike after falling off. So, Rick, the video we're showing right now is an older man in Chicago who got caught up in some crazy chaos on the streets. Kids yelled, threatened, and literally ran across the top of his car. So is the cause of this, it's a normal day in the summertime in Chicago, or a reduction of police and their authority? Rick, 1 minute.
Yeah, complete reduction in police and authority. And this is the chaos you get when you defund the police, when you demean the police, when you demean the law. When you show through the actions of the president that the Constitution and the rule of law mean nothing, in other words, when the president makes law on his own, that encourages the American people to not believe in the rule of law and the Constitution. So these are all reflections of that. The left has been at this cultural Marxism to destroy any concept of right and wrong and have this kind of chaos. They've been at it for a long time. Unfortunately, you know, I wish every one of those individuals would be arrested and have to pay some sort of price for that kind of lawlessness. But in Chicago, forget it. They're not going to enforce the law there.
I'm afraid you're right. Rick Green, back to you in just a moment.